Providence Municipal Court. Tuesday morning, 9:47 a.m. The heavy wooden doors swing open and the click of expensive sneakers echoes against marble floors. A girl of 17 enters, eyes glued to her phone screen, thumbs moving rapidly across the glass. Designer ripped jeans. Crop top that costs more than most people's weekly groceries. A Louis Vuitton purse dangles from her shoulder, the logo catching the fluorescent lights. Her hair falls in perfect highlights, the kind that require monthly salon visits at $200 a pop. AirPods sit in both ears, the white stems visible beneath blonde waves. She's chewing gum, jaw working in slow, deliberate motions that communicate one thing: boredom. This is Madison Elizabeth Pierce, 17 years old, senior at St. Catherine's Academy, where tuition runs $40,000 a year. Her parents are both attorneys at prestigious downtown firms. She has 47,000 followers on TikTok, where she posts about rich girl problems and designer hauls. And right now, she's treating a courtroom like it's a waiting room at the DMV. Before we show you what happens when entitlement meets authority, hit that subscribe button right now, because we're racing towards 700,000 subscribers and 96% of you still haven't subscribed to Judge Stories. If this story about respect, consequences, and why some teenagers need to learn the hard way makes you believe that courtrooms are sacred spaces no matter your age, leave a comment below. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why what happens to Madison Pierce in the next 20 minutes will change her life forever. Here's a question: when did we raise a generation that thinks rules are suggestions and respect is optional? Because what's about to unfold in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom proves that some lessons can only be learned the hard way. And Madison Pierce is about to get an education money can't buy. The bailiff's voice cuts through the murmur of the crowded gallery. Madison Elizabeth Pierce. Case number 2025 TF 8847. Madison doesn't look up from her phone. Her mother, sitting in the second row wearing a Chanel suit, whispers urgently, "Madison? Madison, that's you." The girl sighs, an exaggerated sound of inconvenience, and walks toward the podium. She doesn't remove her AirPods. She doesn't put away her phone. She certainly doesn't stop chewing her gum. Judge Frank Caprio looks up from his paperwork with his characteristic warmth, the kind of patience that's been cultivated over 37 years on the bench. "Good morning, Miss Pierce. Please approach." Madison shuffles forward, still scrolling. The judge waits. The courtroom waits. Everyone can see the glowing screen reflected in her face. "Miss Pierce, I need your attention, please." Madison glances up for half a second. "Yeah, what?" The gallery reacts immediately. A woman in the third row gasps softly. An elderly man shakes his head. Even the court reporter's fingers pause over her keyboard. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but something in the room shifts. "Miss Pierce, you're in a court of law. I need you to put your phone away and remove your earphones." Madison sighs again, louder this time, and pulls out one AirPod, just one. The other remains firmly in place. She doesn't put the phone away. Instead, she sets it on the podium in front of her, screen still glowing with notifications. "Can we make this quick? I have a nail appointment at 2 o'clock. The words hang in the air like smoke after a gunshot. Judge Caprio leans back slightly, studying her. Several people in the gallery exchange knowing looks. This girl has no idea what she's walking into. "Miss Pierce, do you understand why you're here today?" Madison picks at her manicure. "Speeding ticket, whatever. My parents will pay it." The judge opens the file in front of him. His voice remains calm, almost gentle. "This isn't just a speeding ticket, Miss Pierce. You were clocked at 85 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone. That was a school zone during dismissal time." Madison shrugs, a gesture so casual it borders on obscene given the context. "So I didn't hit anyone." Judge Caprio's eyes narrow slightly. "You nearly hit a crossing guard, a 68-year-old woman named Mrs. Chen. She had to jump out of your way." Madison's phone buzzes. She glances at it. Without thinking, without even pretending to care about the gravity of the moment, she picks it up and starts typing. "Your Honor, Her mother stands abruptly from the gallery. I apologize. Madison is under a tremendous amount of stress with college applications. Mom. Madison doesn't even turn around. Stop. This is so embarrassing. Can you just pay the fine so I can leave? The courtroom goes silent. Not the silence of attention, but the silence of shock, the kind that follows when someone crosses a line they don't even know exists. Judge Caprio stands slowly. It's a deliberate movement. When Judge Caprio stands, people in this courthouse know something serious is about to happen. Miss Pierce, he says quietly, I'm going to need you to put that phone down now. Madison looks up, finally registering something in his tone. She sets the phone down but doesn't turn it over. The screen continues to glow between them. Judge Caprio remains standing. Remove your other earphone, please. Madison rolls her eyes, actually rolls them in full view of everyone, and removes the second AirPod. She drops both into her purse with exaggerated movements that scream inconvenience. Happy? The word is delivered with such contempt that even her own father, sitting beside her mother, drops his head into his hands. No, Miss Pierce, Judge Caprio says, I'm not happy. And before we go any further, I need you to understand something. This courtroom is not a suggestion. The law is not a suggestion, and the respect you show here is not optional. Madison stares at him, jaw still working that gum in slow, defiant circles. Whatever you say, Judge. Judge Caprio sits back down, his expression shifting from patient to firm. Miss Pierce, I'm looking at your driving record. This is your 6th citation in 18 months. 6 tickets since you got your license. Madison inspects her nails, picking at the edge of her gel polish. So, my parents paid all of them. That's what money is for, right? The gallery erupts in whispers. A man near the back mutters something about entitled kids. A woman clutches her purse tighter, shaking her head in disbelief. Judge Caprio raises his hand and the room quiets instantly. No, Miss Pierce. Money is not for erasing consequences. Money is not a shield against accountability. Your previous violations include 3 parking citations on school property, 1 reckless driving charge that was reduced, and 2 speeding tickets. Every single one was paid immediately by your parents. Have you personally paid for any of these violations? Madison shrugs. Why would I? I don't have a job. I'm a student. And whose fault is that? The judge asks, his voice carrying a weight that makes even the bailiff straighten his posture. Madison doesn't answer. She's pulled out a compact mirror and is checking her lipstick. Miss Pierce, put that away. Madison snaps the compact shut with a click that echoes through the silent courtroom. This is ridiculous. Can we just get to the part where you tell me the fine? I literally have places to be. Her mother stands again, voice trembling. Your Honor, please. She's just nervous. She doesn't mean to be disrespectful. Madison spins around. Mom, oh my God, stop talking. You're making this worse. Sit down. Her mother's face goes pale. She sits slowly, and for the first time, you can see tears forming in her eyes. Her father won't even look up. His hands are clenched so tightly his knuckles have gone white. Judge Caprio's voice drops lower, quieter, but somehow more powerful. Miss Pierce, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to listen carefully. Every person who comes through this courtroom has a story. Some are struggling to make ends meet. Some made genuine mistakes. Some are here because life dealt them a hard hand. And then there are people like you, people who treat the law like an inconvenience, people who believe their parents' money makes them untouchable. Madison finally turns back to face him. Are you done with the speech? Because I've heard this before, from principals, from counselors, from my parents. It's always the same lecture about responsibility and consequences. And you know what? I'm tired of it. The courtroom is so quiet you can hear the clock ticking on the wall. Judge Caprio leans forward. You're tired of it. He repeats the words slowly, letting them settle. Mrs. Chen was tired too. Tired from working a 12-hour shift. Tired from standing in the cold, helping children cross the street safely. And then you came around that corner at 85 miles per hour and nearly ended her life. Madison scoffs. But I didn't. I didn't hit her. So why are we acting like I committed murder? Because intent matters, Miss Pierce. Because recklessness matters. Because the fact that you got lucky doesn't erase what could have happened. The prosecutor, a woman in her 40s with graying hair and a weathered expression that speaks to years in this system, stands. Your Honor, if I may, we have Officer Rodriguez here to testify. She was the responding officer. Judge Caprio nods. Please proceed. Officer Rodriguez takes the stand. She's a 15-year veteran, her uniform crisp, her posture military straight. She's sworn in, and the prosecutor begins. Officer Rodriguez, can you describe what you witnessed on the afternoon of October 3rd? The officer opens her notebook, though it's clear she doesn't need it. She remembers every detail. I was parked 2 blocks from Franklin Elementary School, conducting speed enforcement during dismissal time. That's between 2:45 and 3:15 p.m. when children are leaving the building. At approximately 2:57 p.m., I observed a black BMW M4 traveling at a high rate of speed northbound on Elmwood Avenue. The vehicle was approaching the marked crosswalk where Mrs. Chen, the school crossing guard, was helping students cross. What happened next? The prosecutor asks. Officer Rodriguez's jaw tightens. Mrs. Chen had stepped into the crosswalk with her stop sign raised. There were 3 children waiting to cross. The BMW didn't slow down. Mrs. Chen saw the vehicle coming and had to jump backward. She dropped her stop sign. One of the children started crying because Mrs. Chen fell when she jumped back. The crossing guard is 68 years old. She could have been seriously injured or killed. Madison's phone buzzes on the podium. Without thinking, operating on pure instinct and entitlement, she picks it up. Judge Caprio's voice cuts like a blade. Miss Pierce, put that phone down immediately. Madison looks up, startled. What? It's just a text, I said. Put it down. Madison sets it down, but her face shows pure defiance. God. Okay, calm down. The judge's expression darkens. Officer Rodriguez, please continue. Did you pursue the vehicle? Yes, Your Honor. I activated my lights and siren. The BMW continued for another 3 blocks before pulling over. When I approached the vehicle, the driver, Miss Pierce, was filming me on her phone. The prosecutor pulls up a tablet. Your Honor, we have the body camera footage. May I play it? Judge Caprio nods. The courtroom screen flickers to life. The footage is crystal clear. Officer Rodriguez approaches the driver's side window. The window rolls down and Madison's face fills the frame, phone held up recording. This is so going on TikTok. Madison's voice comes through the speakers. Officer Karen is power tripping because I'm young and pretty. Officer Rodriguez's voice is professional. Controlled. License and registration, please. Madison in the video sighs dramatically. Do you know who my parents are? They're attorneys. Like actual lawyers. You're making a huge mistake. The officer remains calm. License and registration. Madison tosses her license at the officer. It falls on the ground. The officer picks it up without comment. Miss Pierce, do you know how fast you were going? Madison in the video laughs. Fast enough to get away from this boring town. Officer, you were traveling 85 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour school zone. You nearly struck a crossing guard and endangered children. Madison's response makes the entire courtroom gasp. She didn't get hit though, so what's the problem? You people are so dramatic. My dad is going to destroy your career for harassment. The video ends. The courtroom sits in stunned silence. Judge Caprio turns to Madison, who is now decidedly less confident than she was 5 minutes ago. Miss Pierce, do you remember saying those things? Madison shifts her weight. I was upset. People say things when they're upset. Do you remember threatening the officer's career? That's not a threat. That's just facts. My dad knows people. Judge Caprio's patience is wearing visibly thin, though his voice remains controlled. Miss Pierce, intimidating a police officer is a serious offense, but we're not done yet. He turns to the prosecutor. What else do we have? The prosecutor stands, tablet in hand. Your Honor, we have evidence from Miss Pierce's social media accounts that we believe is relevant to this case. Madison's eyes widen. Wait, what? You can't use my TikTok. That's private. It's public, Miss Pierce. The prosecutor responds. You have 47,000 followers. Your account settings show every video is set to public. That's not private by any definition. Judge Caprio nods. Proceed. The courtroom screen changes. Madison's TikTok profile fills the display. The username reads Madison Pierce Official with a verified check mark. Her bio says, living my best life. Born blessed. Stay mad? The prosecutor clicks on a video. It's dated the night before this court appearance. Madison appears on screen, sitting in what's clearly her bedroom. Behind her are shelves filled with designer handbags and shoes. She's talking directly to the camera. Got court tomorrow for literally nothing, she says, making air quotes with her fingers. Going to be so annoying. Some old crossing guard is mad because I drove near her or whatever. Pray for me, lol. She makes a prayer hands emoji gesture, and the video ends with her blowing a kiss. The courtroom is silent. Even Madison's mother has covered her face with her hands. But the prosecutor isn't finished. There's another one, Your Honor. Posted 3 days after the incident. This video loads. Madison is sitting in the driver's seat of her BMW. The camera is angled to show both her face and the car's luxury interior. The audio starts with her laughing. When you almost hit a crossing guard, but your parents are lawyers, she says, flipping her hair. The text overlay reads, above the law with sparkle emojis. Hashtag scroll across the bottom. Hashtag no consequences. Hashtag daddy's money. Hashtag untouchable. Hashtag rich girl problems. The video ends with her making a peace sign and winking. The gallery erupts. Someone says, "Are you kidding me?" Another voice, angry and sharp, cuts through. She's mocking that poor woman. The bailiff calls for order, but the damage is done. The room has turned completely against Madison. Even the few people who might have had sympathy before are now staring at her with undisguised disgust. Madison's face has gone pale. She tries to speak, but Judge Caprio raises his hand. Not yet, Miss Pierce. We are not finished. Your Honor, if I may. A soft voice comes from the gallery. An elderly woman is standing. She's small, barely 5 feet tall, with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. She wears a crossing guard uniform, the fluorescent yellow vest still on over a simple cardigan. She's holding a stop sign. This is Mrs. Chen. Judge Caprio's expression softens immediately. Mrs. Chen, please come forward. Would you like to address the court? Mrs. Chen walks slowly to the witness stand. Her hands tremble slightly as she's sworn in. She sits carefully, the stop sign resting against her chair. Mrs. Chen, the judge says gently, can you tell us what happened that day? Mrs. Chen's voice is quiet, accented with the careful English of someone who learned the language later in life. I've been crossing guard for 12 years. Every day I help the children cross safely. It is my job. I love the children. Some of them, they are my own grandchildren who go to this school. That day, October 3rd, it was dismissal time. Very busy. Many cars. I step into crosswalk with my sign up. I look both ways like always. Then I see the car coming. Black car. Very fast. Too fast. What did you do, Mrs. Chen? Her voice breaks slightly. I try to wave my sign. I think maybe driver doesn't see me. But car keeps coming. Not slowing down. I jump back, but I am not young woman anymore. I am 68 years old. I fall on the ground. My sign drops. The children scream. One little girl, Emma. She starts crying because she thinks I am hurt. Mrs. Chen wipes her eyes with a tissue. I was so scared. I thought this is how I die. Hit by car doing my job trying to protect children. The courtroom is absolutely silent now. You can hear Mrs. Chen's breathing, shaky and uneven. Were you injured? The prosecutor asks gently. Mrs. Chen nods. I bruised my hip from falling. My doctor says I am lucky nothing breaks, but the injury that doesn't go away is here. She touches her chest. In my heart. I cannot sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see the headlights. I hear the engine. For 1 week, I cannot go back to work. The school has to find substitute crossing guard. My granddaughter asks me why I'm crying at dinner. How do I explain to 8-year-old girl that someone almost killed her grandmother, and that person does not care? Madison shifts uncomfortably at the podium. Mrs. Chen turns to look at her directly. I see your videos. My granddaughter, she shows me. She has the TikTok too. She sees what you post. Above the law, you say. No consequences. My granddaughter asks me, Grandma, why is that girl laughing? Doesn't your life matter? Mrs. Chen's voice rises slightly, the emotion finally breaking through. I work 3 jobs to raise my family. I come to America with nothing. I work every day. I pay my taxes. I follow every rule. And you have everything. Nice car, nice clothes, nice family, but you have no respect. Not for me, not for the law, not for life itself. Judge Caprio leans forward. Mrs. Chen, what would you like to see happen here today? Mrs. Chen looks at Madison again. I don't want revenge. I am not an angry person. I just want her to understand. Life is precious. Every life. Even mine. Even the life of old immigrant woman in yellow vest. I matter too. The words hang in the air with devastating weight. Madison is staring at the floor. Her mother is openly crying now. Her father has his arm around his wife, but his face shows something between shame and rage. Judge Caprio speaks softly to Mrs. Chen. Thank you for your courage and coming here today. You may step down. Mrs. Chen rises slowly, picking up her stop sign. As she walks past Madison, she pauses. Madison still won't look up. Mrs. Chen says quietly, just loud enough for the microphones to catch. I forgive you, but you must forgive yourself by doing better. Then she returns to her seat in the gallery. Judge Caprio turns his attention back to Madison. Miss Pierce, did you hear what Mrs. Chen said? Madison nods without speaking. Her jaw is clenched. Her hands grip the podium. I need you to answer verbally for the record. Yes, Madison whispers. I heard. And what do you have to say? Madison takes a breath. She looks like she's wrestling with herself, pride fighting against something deeper. Look, I'm sorry. She got scared, but I didn't actually hit her. So, this whole thing is kind of blown out of proportion. The courtroom explodes again. Multiple voices shout in disbelief. Judge Caprio's gavel comes down hard 3 times. Order. Order in this court. He stares at Madison with an expression that could freeze water.